Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com, keeping it free, .blogspot.com. You know, campaign finance reform doesn't work. One of the problems I have when I talk with my well-meaning friends, and they're great people, is that the regulation crowd never seems to understand that some regulations simply don't work. Like the war on drugs. We've been spending billions of dollars, and of course, marijuana has never been more prevalent in the United States decades later, right? Anyone who's been to a rave knows that the drugs have gotten more intense, not less intense. Well, campaign finance reform also isn't worth the paper it's printed on. It's just a political tool with no real teeth, simply because the regulations place limits on the official team, right? The unofficial team goes unfettered. You can spend money as long as you don't have an official title, as long as you're not officially part of the campaign, right? You literally have a black market out there of people who are quietly doing things to help the candidate, and the sophisticated know that that entire group is where the real action is taking place. For example, let's think about Herman Cain and the revelations, the allegations, the accusations that have been made against him for alleged sexual harassment that took place in the 1990s. Now, Herman Cain has accused the Rick Perry campaign of bringing this matter to the press's attention. Right now, quite frankly, if Herman Cain is a sexual harasser, then quite frankly, this is something that should be brought into the public narrative. But of course, Rick Perry's campaign is saying, hey, don't look at us. We're not responsible, because every campaign wants to look like they're above, um, dirty politics or, digging into someone's past for revelations that are more than a decade old. But the reality is that there are many people out there who support each candidate. No doubt many of the people who support Rick Perry are not on Rick Perry's formal payroll, right? The campaign has official members, people with titles, a campaign manager, regional manager, yada, 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 right? And these people are formally on the payroll. When you make a donation to the campaign, these people can get formal paychecks. But isn't there another group, a savvy group, people with capital, people off the books, who want to see Rick Perry get the Republican nomination, but who are wise enough to know that if they formally join the Rick Perry campaign, then they're going to be subject to all these restrictions, these regulations, right? These rules put in place by the feel-good crowd and by politicians who are trying to convince the public that politics is a honorable profession and a clean world, right? And so you have a whole group of people who might even know members of Rick Perry's campaign and who privately know that they can help Rick Perry by digging up dirt on Rick Perry's opponents, right? And all I'm saying is, in the Herman Cain case, Perry would be foolish if he were to have official workers subject to these campaign finance regulations actually spending time looking into these allegations. Because quite frankly, Rick Perry supporters who aren't subject to these regulations understand that they can do the dirty work. If you're someone with capital and you have a clear preference on who you want to win the campaign, and you've heard that there might be dirt in Herman Cain's background, why wouldn't you do an independent investigation into the allegations? Right? Why wouldn't you take steps to make sure that the media is aware that a Rick Perry adversary might not be pristine, that that adversary might in fact have had problems in the past, or at least might have had a group of people who in the past made claims against him or her? And so the net result is all these campaign finance laws have done is push such activity from the official campaign into the black market world that's off the books, right? All campaign finance does is it takes what would be a cleaner balance sheet and turn it into an Enron balance sheet, right? You really cannot put limits, just logistically. You really cannot put limits on the money spent toward a political campaign because much of that money is unofficial. And so, we can talk about the need to have public finance of campaigns and to put limits on, the money that can be donated to campaigns. Realistically, if those rules aren't enforceable, if there's an easy end around, if there are people with strong preferences on who they want to be president of the United States, as long as they're willing to spend money to do research, opposition research on an opponent, and as long as they are willing to take the steps necessary to dig up dirt on an opponent to their preferred candidate, then campaign finance laws are simply unenforceable, right? It's much like the drug laws, where we can have a set of drug laws, but as long as the demand for marijuana continues to be as robust as it's been, as long as there's been a market for marijuana, then you're going to have consumers, regardless of the laws on the books, right? Same thing with the political market. As long as people desire to have certain candidates win, whoever that candidate is, then all you're doing by putting limits on the money that you can contribute to the official campaign is to create a black unofficial market where political operatives can give money to whoever to dig up stories. They'll never be able, in my opinion, to conclusively prove that the Rick Perry campaign outed these charges against Herman Cain. Not only that, we'll never be able to prove which campaign, if any, outed these allegations against Herman Cain, right? Because quite frankly, the official campaigns are just the tip of the iceberg. The real action is in the operatives who are off the books, and off the books is such a vast world that we'll never be able to locate the players. And even if we did, the players would have plausible deniability. Whether Herman Cain committed sexual harassment years ago is a public interest story. You have a lot of reporters right now trying to figure out what the actual facts are, right? Reporters with just an interest in getting at a matter of public interest. Well, how do you separate those reporters from political operatives who actually have an agenda to promote a particular candidacy? You can't. So all this campaign finance law stuff, it's just feel-good talk. whether there are laws on the books or not, just like the drug laws, whether there are laws on the books or not, right? The robust market for political research is going to continue, and the off-the-book partisans are going to continue to do their thing unfettered. Let me know what you think. Leave your comments for me here on YouTube. Visit us at keepingitfree.blogspot.com. Thanks for watching.